like and subscribe. From the Tears of a Dragon. The kingdom of Eldoria was under constant threat from a fearsome dragon, causing widespread panic and destruction in the outer regions. Villages burned, fields were scorched, and fear gripped the hearts of the people. Strangely, the dragon never attacked the castle or the capital city itself, leading to whispered suspicions and growing unease among the populace. It was dusk in Eldoria, and the village of Wylam was a picture of chaos. A deafening roar echoed across the skies as the dragon descended, with its scales shimmering like molten gold in the twilight. Flames spewed from its jaws, turning homes and fields into blazing infernos. Villagers screamed and fled, their lives reduced to ashes in moments. In the heart of the chaos, a lone rider galloped towards the distant silhouette of Eldoria's castle. In the grand hall of Eldoria's castle, King Alden sat on his throne, surrounded by advisors. The doors burst open, and a soot-covered messenger staggered in. "Your Majesty," he said while bowing, "the village of Wylam, it's been destroyed by the dragon." King Alden's expression darkened. He then dismissed his advisors with a wave. "Summon Sir B.N.Rocker," he ordered. "I'm done throwing men away. We need a dragon slayer." Far to the north, in a tranquil countryside, Sir B.N.Rocker enjoyed a rare moment of peace. As he sat by a bubbling brook, fishing, his rest was interrupted by the arrival of King Alden's envoy. A grim-faced rider bearing the royal seal dismounted and approached him. "Sir Gareth," the envoy began, "the king requests your immediate presence in Eldoria. The dragon has struck again." Gareth's eyes hardened, the weight of duty settling on his shoulders. He nodded. "Tell the king I will be there by dawn." The journey to Eldoria was swift. As Gareth rode through the castle gates, villagers and soldiers alike whispered his name. He dismounted and entered the throne room, where King Alden awaited. "Sir Gareth." The king greeted him. "Thank you for coming." Gareth bowed. "Your Majesty, I came as soon as I heard. Tell me what you know of this dragon." King Alden's face grew somber. "This dragon is unlike any we have faced. I've sent the finest knights and entire armies. Thousands have tried to slay it and failed. We need more than a knight. We need a dragon slayer. Know this, the fate of Eldoria rests in your hands. Succeed, and you will be honored beyond measure. Fail, and our kingdom may fall." Gareth emerged from the castle, his mind set on the perilous quest ahead. As he mounted his horse, the crowd watched in silence, their hopes pinned on his broad shoulders. He turned to look at the castle one last time, then spurred his horse into a gallop, heading into the unknown. The road ahead was fraught with danger, but Gareth knew he could not fail. The fate of Eldoria depended on him, and he would not rest until the dragon was slain or he had fallen in the attempt. Sir B.N.Rocker rode through the early morning mist. The urgency of his mission weighed heavily on him, but he knew that defeating the dragon would require more than just his skill with a sword. He needed a team of specialists. Sir Gareth guided his horse along a narrow path. He had heard tales of Lyria the elf, a master archer whose arrows never missed their mark. Finding her would be the first step in assembling his team, he thought to himself. As he ventured deeper into the woods, a figure emerged from the shadows, bow drawn and arrow nocked. "Halt," she commanded. "State your business." "I seek Lyria the elf," Gareth replied, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "I am Sir B.N.Rocker, and I have come to ask for their aid in slaying the dragon that plagues Eldoria." Lyria lowered her bow slightly, studying him. "Why should I help you?" "Because the dragon threatens not just Eldoria, but all the lands beyond," Gareth replied. She paused, then nodded. "Very well, Sir Gareth. I will join your quest." The clanging of hammers on metal echoed through the mountains as Gareth approached a large cave. As he entered, the heat was intense and sparks flew from the anvil where a burly dwarf worked tirelessly. This was Doran, the blacksmith and explosives expert. "Doran," Gareth called out. The dwarf looked up, wiping sweat from his brow. "So tell me, what brings a dragon slayer to my forge?" Doran asks. "I need your expertise," Gareth replied. "We're going to slay a dragon, and your skills with explosives could be the key to our success." Doran grunted, crossing his arms. "Explosives, you say? "Do you promise?" he replies with a smirk. "I'm in," Doran announced. Next, all three entered a tavern. The tavern was a lively place filled with the sounds of laughter and clinking mugs. Gareth scanned the room, searching for Fiona the halfling. He spotted her at a corner table, deftly lifting a coin purse from an unsuspecting patron. He approached her, and she looked up with a mischievous grin. "Well, well, if it isn't Sir B.N.Rocker, to what do I owe the pleasure?" "I need your skills, Fiona," he said. "We're putting together a team to slay the dragon." She leaned back, eyeing him skeptically. "And what's in it for me?" "Riches beyond your wildest dreams," Gareth promised, "and a royal pardon for your, shall we say, extracurricular activities." Fiona's eyes sparkled with interest. "You throw in a night on the town, and you've got yourself a deal, Rocker." Next, they rode to the barracks. Gareth dismounted and entered, where he saw many troops training, but one figure stood out among the armored soldiers. Talia, a small but fierce warrior, moved with lightning-fast speed, her blade a blur as she trained. She had the unique ability to portal jump, a skill that could turn the tide in any battle. "Talia," Gareth called, catching her attention, "I need your help." She sheathed her sword and approached him. "What kind of help?" "We're forming a team to slay the dragon," he explained. "Your speed and portal jumping could make all the difference. The king has promised us riches beyond your dreams." Talia considered for a moment, then nodded. "I'm in, but not for the riches, but for the kingdom and its people." They then headed to a house outside of the capital city, where the final member of Gareth's team was Brack, a towering orc known for his immense strength. Gareth found him in a seedy brothel, breaking up a brawl with a single swing of his massive fist. "Brack," Gareth shouted over the commotion, "I need your strength for a dangerous mission." Brack turned with frustration in his face and said, "This better be good, boy. To interrupt me when I'm having a thrill. Well, go on, boy. What mission?" As he stands up looking like he is ready to put a beat down on someone. "A dragon slaying," Gareth replied. "Join us, and you'll have the thrill of a lifetime, not to mention the rewards." Brax grinned. All you had to say was dragon. Finally, a worthy challenger. "I'm in. Let's slay that thing," he cried out. With his team assembled, Sir B.N.Rocker looked at the diverse group of warriors before him. Each brought something unique to the table, and together he knew they not only stood a chance against the golden dragon, they could win. As they set out towards the dragon's lair, the fate of Eldoria hung in the balance, and the true test of their strength and unity was about to begin. As the group rode through a dense forest, Lyria, the elven archer, rode beside Gareth. "Tell me, Lyria," Gareth began, breaking the silence. "What drove you to join this quest?" Lyria sighed. "My village was destroyed by the dragon. It came at night, burned our homes, and slaughtered my people. I was the only survivor." Gareth nodded, understanding her pain. "Vengeance?" he asked. "Partly," Lyria admitted, "but also to ensure no one else suffers as my people did. The dragon threatens all our lands, and it must be stopped." That evening, the group made camp by a roaring fire. Doran the dwarf, with his gruff demeanor, sat apart from the others, tending to his weapons. Gareth approached him, curious about the dwarf's past. "Doran, what brings a master blacksmith and explosives expert to this quest?" Gareth asked. Doran looked up. "I've crafted a weapon for a legendary battle that crowned a king. It's now named the Kingmaker. I forged a two-handed hammer that won a war. It's now named the Warhammer. But a weapon forged from dragon scales? That's a weapon I must make, and I can only dream of what it might achieve." He paused, his face softening slightly. "And I've seen too much destruction in my time. If my skills can help end this dragon's reign of terror, then so be it." The next day, the group traveled along a winding path through the hills. Fiona the halfling rode alongside Gareth, her eyes darting about, always on alert. "Fiona, you're quite skilled in stealth and deception," Gareth noted. "How did you come by such talents?" She smirked with a hint of mischief in her eyes. "Let's just say I've had a colorful past. Thieving, smuggling, you name it. But when you've lived on the edge as long as I have, you learn to be, well, How can I put this? Resourceful. Gareth nodded. And why join us? The promise of a royal pardon, she said, her voice serious for a moment. And maybe, just maybe, the riches. And you did promise me a night on the town, remember? Her smile widening. Gareth nodded. Yep, I can't forget. You won't let me, winking as he rode ahead. Later that day, the group encountered a rickety bridge over a deep ravine. As they debated how to cross, Brack stepped forward. Stand aside, he grunted, grabbing a fallen tree trunk. With a mighty heave, he placed it across the ravine, creating a makeshift bridge. Impressive strength, Brack, Gareth remarked. Brack shrugged, a feral grin on his face. I'm here for the thrill of the hunt and the promise of riches. The sooner we slay that dragon, the sooner that happens. The journey had been long and arduous, but Sir Gareth Rocker and his team finally stood before the entrance to the dragon's lair. The treacherous mountain cave loomed before them, its dark mouth a foreboding portal into the unknown. Gareth turned to his team. This is it, he said. Stay sharp and watch each other's backs. We don't know what we'll find inside. They moved cautiously into the cave. The further they went, the more the temperature dropped, the chill of the mountains seeping into their bones. They hadn't gone far when Lyria suddenly held up her hand, signaling them to stop. Hold, she whispered. I sense something. Before anyone could react, a hidden mechanism in the floor clicked and a series of metal bars shot up, trapping them in a confined space. As the walls began to close in, Talia, in an instant, portal jumped, appearing on the other side of the bars. She scanned the area quickly, her eyes locking onto the mechanism controlling the trap. With lightning speed, she disabled it, the walls grinding to a halt and the bars retracting. Quick thinking, Talia, Gareth praised her. They continued deeper into the cave. Fiona led the way, her keen eyes searching for any signs of danger. Suddenly, she stopped, dropping to a crouch and examining the floor closely. Watch your step, she warned, pointing to a barely visible seam in the stone. That's a pressure plate. It's connected to something nasty for sure. Gareth nodded, stepping back to give her space. Fiona pulled out her tools, working quickly to disarm the trap. With a final twist, she disabled the mechanism, the hidden danger rendered harmless. They pressed on. The tunnel opened into a large cavern, its ceiling lost in shadows, and from the darkness, a giant spider emerged. Get ready, Gareth shouted, drawing his sword. Lyria's arrows flew through the air, striking the spider's eyes with deadly accuracy. Doran charged forward, swinging his hammer with a roar, landing a heavy blow on one of the creature's legs. The spider retaliated, spewing webs to entangle them. Talia portal jumped, avoiding the sticky strands, and slashed at the spider's abdomen with her blade. Brack roared, using his immense strength to tear through the webs and land a powerful punch to the spider's head. As Fiona darted around the spider, her daggers finding weak spots in its exoskeleton. Despite its size and ferocity, the spider was overwhelmed by the combined might of the team. With a final coordinated strike, they brought the creature down, its body collapsing into a twitching heap. Breathing heavily, Gareth looked around at his team, their faces illuminated by the flickering torchlight. Well done, everyone, he said, but this is just the beginning. The dragon awaits. They nodded. They had faced traps and a deadly guardian, and they had prevailed. Now they were ready for the ultimate challenge, confronting the dragon. With weapons at the ready and determination in their hearts, they pressed onward into the depths of the lair, each step bringing them closer to their destiny. Finally, they emerged into a vast cavern, its walls lined with glittering gemstones and piles of gold. At the center of the cavern, the dragon lay coiled, its scales glinting like molten metal in the flickering light. Sir Gareth Rocker stepped forward, his sword drawn, his eyes locked onto the fearsome beast. "We've come to end your reign of terror, dragon," he declared. The dragon uncoiled, rising to its full, terrifying height, its eyes fixed on the group. "End my reign," it rumbled, its voice deep and resonant. "You misunderstand, humans. I am not your enemy." The team exchanged confused glances, but Gareth held his ground. "What do you mean? You've been attacking our villages and spreading fear and destruction." The dragon lowered its head, its gaze sorrowful. I have been forced to act in such a way, but it was never my intention to harm your people. I want them to rise up against the king. I was once a human, a sorcerer named Thalor, tasked with protecting this kingdom. Gareth's grip on his sword tightened. Explain yourself, dragon. Thalor let out a deep sigh, his massive form shifting slightly. Many years ago, I served King Alden's father, the true king. We faced a great threat from a rival kingdom. In my efforts to protect our lands, I was cursed by an evil sorcerer who sought to overthrow the king. He turned me into this dragon, using my new form to sow fear and chaos. Lyria stepped forward, her bow still drawn, but her eyes filled with curiosity. If what you say is true, then who is the real enemy? Thalor's eyes burned with anger. The current king is an impostor, the very sorcerer who cursed me. He killed the true king and took his place, using his dark magic to maintain his hold on the throne. He feared my power and cursed me to prevent me from stopping him. The revelation hit the team like a thunderbolt. Gareth lowered his sword slightly. So, the real threat is within our own court. We've been deceived all this time. Thalor nodded. Indeed. The impostor king has been manipulating events to weaken the kingdom. He seeks to destroy Eldoria from within. Talia's eyes flashed with determination. We must stop him. If what you say is true, then we've been fighting the wrong battle. Gareth turned to his team. We need to expose the truth and stop the impostor king. But first, we need to deal with the immediate threat of the invasion. Thalor raised his head, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. I can help you. Though I am cursed, I still possess great power and knowledge. Together we can defeat the impostor and save Eldoria from his army in waiting. Thalor raised his head, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. I can help you. Though I am cursed, I still possess great power and knowledge. Together we can defeat the impostor and save Eldoria from his army of undead that lay in waiting. Gareth sheathed his sword, stepping forward with newfound purpose. Then let's put an end to this deceit and reclaim our kingdom. With Thalor, the dragon, joining their ranks, the team set out to confront the true enemy, the dark sorcerer, with their hearts burning with the desire for justice, as they hoped to prevent the invasion from his army of undead. Sir Gareth and his team, now allied with the dragon, marched back to the kingdom. They knew the impostor king's reign of terror had to end, and they were prepared to face any challenge to achieve that goal. The people of Eldoria watched in awe as the formidable group approached the castle, with the dragon amongst them. The castle gates were heavily fortified, but Gareth's team was undeterred. Lyria's arrows flew with deadly precision, taking out guards from a distance. Doran used his explosives to blast through the outer defenses, creating a path for the team to storm the castle. Inside the courtyard, chaos erupted. Soldiers loyal to the impostor king swarmed, but Fiona's stealth and agility allowed her to slip through their ranks, striking from the shadows. Talia's portal-jumping abilities made her a blur of motion, her blade cutting down enemies before they even knew what hit them. Brack's immense strength cleared a path, with his powerful blows sending soldiers flying. The team burst into the throne room where the impostor king awaited, his eyes glowing with dark magic. He sneered at them, his voice dripping with malice. "You dare challenge me?" Thalor roared, his voice shaking the very walls. "Your time is up, sorcerer. Your reign of deceit ends now." A fierce battle ensued. The throne room a whirlwind of clashing steel and bursts of magic. Lyria's arrows and Talia's swift attacks kept the sorcerer on the defensive, while Doran and Brack took on his elite guards, their combined might breaking through their defenses. In the heat of battle, a powerful spell from the impostor king struck Fiona and Doran, sending them crashing to the ground, lifeless. Gareth's heart sank. The loss of his comrades was a heavy blow. "No!" he shouted, with a newfound fury fueling his attacks. Thalor, seeing the fallen heroes, let out a mournful roar. His tears, glistening like diamonds, fell onto Fiona and Doran. Their wounds healed and life returned to their eyes. They stood, reinvigorated, ready to rejoin the fight. The magic that lies in a dragon's tears had saved them. Together, they pressed the attack, their determination now unbreakable. With the imposter king weakened, Thalor revealed the final truth. The true heir, the real king's son, is locked in the tower. We must free him. Gareth and Talia raced to the tower, battling through the last of the impostor's guards. They found the young prince, weak but alive, chained in the tower. Gareth broke the chains, lifting the prince to his feet. Back in the throne room, the impostor king was cornered. He looked upon them all and the true heir with fear. "You cannot win," the impostor spat, casting a final desperate spell. The team, united and strong, countered the attack. Gareth held up his sword, just as Thalor imbued it with magic, sending his dark energy blast back, knocking the impostor king down, his dark magic dissipating into nothingness. The impostor king stood, his facade melting away to reveal his true identity. With a sinister grin, he bellowed, "You may have won the day, but this is far from over. I will return, and when I do, it will be at the head of an army of the undead." His laughter echoed through the throne room as a dark cloud enveloped him, and then dispersed with a sudden burst, and to their amazement, he was gone. The young prince stepped forward, reclaiming the throne. "Justice has been served," he declared. "Eldoria is free." With the impostor king defeated and the true heir on the throne, peace returned to Eldoria. The kingdom celebrated the heroes who had saved them, their names sung in songs and their deeds remembered in tales. Thalor, now seen as a hero, chose to live in exile to avoid causing fear among the people. He bid farewell to Gareth and the team, his gratitude evident. "Thank you," Thalor said. "You have given me hope and restored my faith in humanity." Gareth nodded. "We couldn't have done it without you, Thalor." Under the true king's rule, Eldoria entered a new era of prosperity. Gareth and his team were celebrated as heroes, each finding a role on the new king's court. Lyria became the head of the royal guard, her skills ensuring the kingdom's safety. Doran's forge crafted legendary weapons, his reputation unmatched. Fiona used her talents for good, protecting the kingdom from the shadows. Talia trained a new generation of warriors, her legacy of speed and agility enduring. Brack found peace, his strength now a symbol of protection and justice. Gareth, honored and respected, remained at the king's side as his personal guard. As the heroes of Eldoria reveled in their hard-won victory, the castle echoed with the sounds of celebration and the joyous cries of a kingdom freed from tyranny. The true king, now seated on his rightful throne, looked out over his loyal subjects with hope. Yet, in the shadows beyond the castle walls, a dark storm was brewing. Far away, in a hidden, desolate stronghold, the impostor king was far from defeated. With a wicked grin, he rallied his army of undead. "They may have won the day," he hissed, "but this is far from over. A very bloody war is coming, and I will return to claim what is mine." As his sinister laughter filled the air, the undead horde began to march, the ground trembling beneath their relentless advance. The kingdom of Eldoria, unaware of the impending darkness, stood on the brink of a new and deadly conflict, one that would test the limits of their newfound peace and the courage of its heroes. The battle was over, but the war had only just begun. This is not goodbye, nor the end. Until the story continues, my friends, B.N.Rocker.